Hello, my name is Brian and I talk skating. If you're here, you probably really like figure skating just as much as me. My sound has been really crap, so I am using my mic from my earpods. I just want to welcome everybody. Today, we're going to talk about the upcoming fifth stop on the ISU Grand Prix of figure skating, Grand Prix Espo. This event actually has some really intriguing storylines and some really big impact on the Grand Prix final and who's going to qualify and who's going to end up sitting at home, literally just wishing that they had hit one more jump or gotten one more level. As always, I'm going to start with the pairs because there's not a ton to talk about, but there actually is a really interesting storyline coming up here in these last two stops because Sarah Conti and Nikolai Machi, they did not skate their best in France. So they're definitely trying to come out here and get closer to that personal best that they've gotten to at the end of last season. And really, if they want to challenge Deanna and Matt and or Maxime and Riku Muri and Ryuichi Kahira and want to hold off their fellow country mates, Bakari and Garisi and Gilardi and Ambrosini, and even honestly, the Germans who are going to be here, Vase and Hase and Valadin, they could also make up some big ground and get closer to Conti and Maki. And honestly, I think they can beat them here because Conti and Maki may not skate their best. And if they don't skate their best, then there we go. This season, Sarah and Nikolai have not really been skating their best. So I feel like this season is just like wide open. Like, whew. Here in Espoo, I think it's kind of like a three-way race. Pavlova and Savchenko, who have a bronze already, Hase and Valadin, who are making their premiere, and then, of course, Conti and Machi, who have a silver medal right now. I actually think Hase and Valadin have the best chance to win here and then win in Japan next week and then just get themselves a spot into the Grand Prix final. I actually think they may have the best chance of any of the pairs here to walk away with the win. And I say that because earlier in the Challenger Series at Nebelhorn, they skated a personal best, like 190 points, which is a pretty good point for pairs right now. And then they've just been spending the last weeks training and training and training. So hopefully they're going to be able to come out really strong. Now, Sarah and Nikolai, they could come out strong too, but I predict they're going to win the silver, and I do think that Pavlova and Sevchenko will walk away with the bronze medal here. I do think that China's Pang and Wang are the team most likely to finish in fourth place and be a spoiler, if anything. And then there's the Kovalevs from France, who I enjoy watching, but just don't really have the technical content to be anything. Most likely, I imagine fifth and sixth place is going to end up Cam and O'Shea from the United States. And then a team I thought was on the rise last year, the Canadians, McIntosh and Mimar, but they just haven't really seemed to grow. So I think they're going to be that last spot. In the end, I think 26 points might be the qualification for pairs, but over the next two competitions, there are five teams. They're fighting it out for what's just four spots. And so, depending on how everyone skates, that threshold could end up being 24 points, which, pay attention, guys, 24 points is like the magic number right now. So, that's pretty much what I think is going to happen there. If we move on to the women, this is like a four-way race with just huge implications as to who's going to make the Grand Prix final. You'd have to assume Kaori Sakamoto would win, and if she doesn't, she would have to make multiple mistakes to lose here. But after what happened to Shoma Uno in China, honestly, who knows? But there's such a huge points difference between the jumps that I don't think Kaori would be in such a deficit, especially because she would have a lead from the short program. And, you know, say a triple loop, for example, that's only 5 points, 6 points with GOE. So we're not talking about the 20 points here. I think the really interesting thing here, though, is going to be the battle between the silver medal, which should be between South Korea's Cheon Kim and Japan's Ryon Sumiyoshi. I prefer Ryon over Cheon between the two of them, but it's definitely just going to come down to who lands all the jumps. But Ryon has the advantage because of her quad toe. If she lands that quad toe and it's clean, that's just such a huge point getter. The other factor here is Amber Glenn. I know she didn't really factor into Skate America, but she definitely can factor in here. If Amber's skating at her best, then she has a really good shot, and I would love to see her do that. But if she has a repeat performance from Skate America, then I don't really see fourth place being anywhere. Like, I don't see her being able to get that above there. But the thing is because her components are so much stronger than Rion and Cheon, I think if they're all skating clean and they're all doing similar clean programs, or even like a mistake here and there, that Amber does still have the advantage and will walk away with a medal. I still think that Cheon Kim, for me and my taste, just has a little bit too much junior quality and not quite enough technical content. Um, Especially if the other two are fully on and fully rotate. And I really just do look for Amber to come back here and show that she is just as much in contention to be the U.S. national champion as Isabella Vito. I mean, Amber has been steadily on the climb, so let's see her do it and lay it down here. The other one I'm really interested to see is from France. We have Lorraine Charles. She skated really well at Grand Prix de France, and I really want to see her come out and back that up. Star Andrews is here as well, and yes, I know I love Star Andrews, but I just don't see her being competitive in this competition. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Excuse me. So, like, if Rion, for example, takes the silver and she ends up with like 24 points could be the qualification. And then next week you have Nina Pinzarron and Hein Lee, who I know it sounds crazy to even mention Hein's name because she only has 9 points right now. But if she wins and that's 15 and the threshold is 24, then she would have 24 points. She would have a gold medal, the same as Hana Yoshida. And then it would come down to scoring. And I have a feeling that Hein would have a higher score. But who knows? Things are going to be really interesting. It's just possible that two women with 24 points might qualify when you look at everything. So Hana Yoshida and Hein Lee could be very favorable with those wins. Okay, so let's talk ice dance because, I love ice dance. It's so intriguing. It's not intriguing as to who's going to make the final or anything, but it's really intriguing to see who's going to end up where in the positioning and all of that. So this competition had a really interesting storyline. Bigger to me than the medals is the American competition between Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko and their country mates, Amelia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik. I love them. Just love them. These two teams are currently separated by less than 2 points, like 1.8 something, based on their season's bests. If you break it down, Amelia and Vadim, they have the advantage in the rhythm dance by a couple of points. But where they lacked in the free was they've gotten not full credit on their choreographic step sequence, I believe, or lift, and they've gotten negative. So if they were to get that and then get positive grades of execution, they would get much closer to where Christina and Anthony are in the free dance. But the real big thing is going to be, are either of them going to hit the 187.62 that Una and Gage Brown put down earlier on the Grand Prix? Because so far, both of the teams we're talking about have only done it in the Challenger. So they can do it, yes, but can they do it on the Grand Prix, and can they slot themselves up there into the Browns? I think if either of them do it, it's going to be Amelia and Vadim because of that beautiful Beauty and the Beast program. I love Beauty and the Beast. It's my favorite story. And they skate it so well. They have such a nice connection to each other. They have some really beautiful moments throughout the program that just make you go, wow. And I really do think that they're the ones that are on the rise, but them and the Browns, oof. For the medals here, Turkilia and Verselius from Finland most likely going to walk away with the bronze medal. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a few minutes, but Laurence Fonry-Baudry and Nikolaj Sorensen, if they don't win the silver medal here, then I don't really know. Like, they're the ones who should. And honestly, there is this universe we live in which they could beat Chalk and Bates for the gold medal here. It happened last season. In their performance in France, while it was a season's best, they got low levels on their diagonal step, on their 1 foot, and he did not get a level 4 on the twizzles. So there's 3 level issues that they could step up, and Chalk and Bates didn't have the highest score ever. It's like a 212 or something. So, excuse me. The thing is, though, if Chalk and Bates come out and skate clean, it's essentially their gold medal to lose. This would qualify both teams to the final, 30 and 26 points respectively. They would join the other 2 Canadian couples, Gilles Empoye and Malalas, Marjorie Lejoie and Zachary Laga. It's not really too much intrigue as to who's going to make the final other than that. The two teams, the Italians and the Brits, next week are competing, and they're probably going to finish 1-2, and they're going to take the other two spots. 30 points and 26 points are going to be the qualification here. But then it's just going to be really fun to see in that final who slots 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be really good. Really, really good. I do have more to say about ice dance, but we're going to move on to the men here right now before we talk about some shenanigans. This one has some huge impact on the Grand Prix final. It really puts the Grand Prix final qualification for the men up in the air completely here. There was a world which 2 spoilers were here that could have actually had some impact on the competition, but they've both withdrawn. Reigning silver medalist Juan Cha, who could have easily finished first here, he withdraws completely, as well as the 5th place finisher from Skate America, the Azerbaijani skater Vladimir Litvintsev. Those are 2 people that are out, and they were people who could have played spoilers to the other 4. But now the other 4, they just have so much on the line. It's just them, basically. There is no wrench going into the Grand Prix qualifications. It's these 4, and these ones are going to just have to do it and fight it out for a spot in the final. It's like a battle, I swear. Kevin Amos, I think he is the most to prove and also the most to lose here. He had a phenomenal skate at Skate America, like lights out. The Bolero, now he was like 3 points off his personal best at Skate America, and if he skates like that here, he'll probably beat his personal best because that was from the World Championships at the end of the season. So to see him on such a roll, I mean, he has just been coming out and skating so well. It's like 2019 Kevin all over again. And he's like, hey, I am the guy here. He wants to prove that he can come out and skate really well again. And if he does that and he gets that personal best, or even if he doesn't get the personal best, but he wins here, he's qualified to the final. Even if he finishes second, he's guaranteed a spot in the Grand Prix final. But he does have to finish top 2. But I just think he's in that mindset that he wasn't in the last couple of seasons dealing with injuries. I just want him to prove me wrong from early in the season with my predictions where I thought he would be like 4th here and just come out and slay it, finish first, and bam. Well, first or second, because honestly, let's move on. My favorite, Matteo Rizzo. He could finish first, and I would be so happy. And I think he could. Is he going to? No, but I do think he's going to come here and win a silver medal and surprise everybody because he's going to skate really well. He's going to lay down both of his quad loops, and they're so beautiful. I mean, he's such a beautiful quad loop. He's going to lay down both those quad toes that he does. He's going to hit his triple axels, and if he does all that, he beats Kawamura and he beats Shun Sato, I believe. Speaking of these two, I absolutely love Shun Sato. I do think he's going to end up in 4th place here. And I also think that even though I love Kawamura, if he skates to how he has similarly in the season already, where he's put up high 250, low 260 range, and that's where he skates, then that's probably going to put him in 3rd or 4th. But it does get interesting there because if he's down in that 250 range, then there is a chance that Shun Sato rises above him and wins a bronze medal. So there's all kinds of implications for the final. But I did a little bit of writing down. And if Kevin finishes 1 or 2, he automatically makes it. Same with Kawamura, automatically makes it. If Matteo Rizzo wins or finishes second, he also makes it. Well, no, second, he needs help. He needs other things. So he would need someone else with 24 points to have a lower. And we're looking at you, Kawamura. So he basically has to beat Cow by over 10 points. So it's really interesting because you have to assume that Adam has 30 points, he's in. Ilya has 28 points, he's in. Shoma and Yuma next week most likely to finish 1-2 unless someone like Lucas Brishki like plays spoiler because one of the two of them doesn't skate that well. But then you have to assume they're in. Then you have to assume it's down to Cal, Kevin, Mateo, and to see how, and maybe Shun, and to see how they all make it in. There is a universe that, you know, Cal, Shun, and Kevin are the top 3, and Mateo doesn't factor in, and the final is pretty much set, but we will see. Now, there's something else I really wanted to talk about, because we had a little competition over the time during the season here, during the Grand Prix, and figure skating happened, yes, and an ice dance competition happened, yes. I am totally not the Dennis 10 or maybe it was Dennis 10. Actually, Dennis 10 Memorial, I believe, is what it was. Yeah, sorry, I'm having a moment here because I didn't write any of this out or make any notes, but I was reading and doing some looking last night, and I see that our absolute favorite nepo baby in all the world, Diana Davis, who is slowly climbing in the points. Currently, she has passed Allison Reed and her partner Valavishifesh. I forget his name right now, and I'm horrible for that right now, and I don't have any of it up. So Amber Lavicious. Sorry, Reed and Amber Lavicious. They've moved ahead of them in world ranking as far as like best score, and Turkis and Veselius are like right there. So what does this mean? This means that Diana Davis and Gleb Schmolken are almost guaranteed going to win a bronze medal at European Championships. And they are going to push some of these teams like Turkis and Veselius, Reed and Amber Lavicious, the Teschlers, a few other teams that were looking to get into that European bronze medal position. They're just about to get pushed out of the way for Diana Davis and Gleb Schmolken, who they finished like 13th at the Olympics, 12th, 11th, something like that. Like they did not finish well at the Olympics, maybe 10th. I don't remember, but I think the judges buried them more in the Olympics than they did in the season. So I'm just really hoping that these judges are not popping on board and are not trying to make Diana Davis and Gleb Schmolken at the same level as Guinard and Fabry or I'm spacing on the British couple's name right now, but you know that happens sometimes when you're just talking off the cuff. It blows my mind to think that they're going to creep them closer and closer to 200, and so by the Olympics they could be a 210 point team and be contending for a medal, which just disgusts me. But so is ice dance. Usually, you know, you got to work, and on a first season back, I don't think that their scores should be so much higher than people like Vadim and Amelia or yeah, I just don't see it, and it's bothering me a lot, and I just wanted to talk about it for a moment. Are any of you guys just absolutely bothered when you watch the rankings and you look at stuff and you see how Diana Davis and Gleb Schmolken are just rising up and going from like 186s, now they're at like 191s? 5 points they've earned, and a lot of it is coming in GOE, which is cool, but also in components. Their components are just rising just a little bit and a little bit. I hate it. So at least we don't have to worry about them until European Championships and World Championships, but once they place there, then they're going to be all over the Grand Prix next season, just messing things up. And yeah, it's just going to be, I'm not going to be happy watching it. I will say, though, I do love watching Gleb skate. I think he's such a good skater. I enjoy them, or him. I just don't enjoy her. I feel like he's just pulling her around like a rag doll. And it's like, hey, you know, if my mom was one of the most famous coaches in the world, I'd want to try to get some medals out of it too. All right, guys, let me know what you think is going to happen in Espoo. Who do you think is going to win gold medals? Do you think Matteo Risso and Kevin Nemos are both going to qualify and do really well? Do you think that Hasse and Volodin are going to be the spoilers in the pairs? Tell me what you guys think is going to happen. I'm really interested to know. I'd love your guys' predictions, or even just for the podium. If you've enjoyed listening to me talk about figure skating, go ahead and give my video a like. I would love that. You make my day. And if you want to know when my next video comes out, you know, do the thing, do the subscription, ding. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you for the recap of Espoo.